One day we're going live. We're here.
We're here. Oh,
We are here.
We're here, but the music ain't
Well,
here.
we're having some technical difficulties.
We were sleeping.
Ooh, we were asleep.
Mama took a nap.
I did take a nap.
You know, that's what happened with church. She was asleep. It may not be the pastor. So, you know, we're going to come to y'all today. 2020 right around the corner. And we're going to be talking about politics in the Black community.
Yes.
We got some candidates out there. Though they may be Black, they got some issues. So we're going to fight the power with Kamala Harris and Cory Booker. All I'm saying, if you ain't bringing no Black agenda to the table, you just might lose out on our people's vote. I don't want to hear no song and dance, no walk around. You got one or you don't.
That Rosie, what?
Watch you do the right thing, y'all.
Doing the right thing.
We just trying to do what's
Black
right.
history life
right
that I'm living.
In this. I'm thinking of Africa in 2020. I don't care what nobody
Spike
says.
Lee. We
We're
need your brother.
You know,
make some movies like that again.
Exactly.
Make you think.
Fight the power.
Hold you accountable.
With Public Enemy.
Yes.
Back there, that was real rap music.
That was real rap. They came with substance, a message, made you think. Yes.
And this is what's important. You know, this whole aspect of what we doing in our lives, we need to be about it.
Yes, we do.
It's very important. An aspect of the politics truly start first and foremost in your household.
At home.
Because we have to come together as a people. Husband and wife come together. Mm-hmm. You help to raise your children up, give them direction in which they should go. And it's just something to really think about. It ain't no one time you go out and vote. You dealing with and living this daily. Daily. In your workplace, where you work at, in your household, even training our little Rottweiler over there. She's a little bit upset with us. So
before we get into all that,
we're going to go ahead and
introduce ourselves.
We're going to go ahead and drop down a little bit.
Yes.
Because we can fight the power all day.
All day.
First and foremost, I'm your host, Chauncey Anderson. Oh, I always say, welcome to the tea.
Welcome to the tea. There we go.
Anderson. And we're going to
get it right.
Beautiful one right here.
I'm Mayaka Anderson.
She always doing it.
Welcome to the tea. I'm your co-host here.
Keep me balanced. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like Congress. Keep it up. But today we just want to talk about the politics as it stands in the Black community. Sometimes you talk about this particular subject, and we as a people, we often say that it doesn't have anything to do with us. The system is rigged, so on and so forth. You know, as it pertains to politics, you also have it at the federal level, and then it's at the state level, and then all the way down to the local level where you live at.
Yes.
And it is very important. We saw that just in the midterms a couple of months ago, back in November. And a message was, it wasn't like just a seed planted and then shot forth. It was almost like people came down just with a bang. The number of women that got into the politics, into the game, the number of minorities of different cultures,
and the number of Blacks, because I don't consider us a minority.
I was going to rev on over to that side of the house, but also the number of Blacks that are involved in politics.
That's right.
And all you have to do is look in your demographics in the state in which you live in, at that local, state, and federal level, and you'll see many Black men and women that are in the game of politics.
Yes.
I consider it a game because it's just like a sport. It's just depending on, they got two teams, Republican and Democrats. It depends on how you play your game, is who's representing you.
Right. The lesser of two evils. That's what we have to decide on, really, the lesser of two evils, because throughout all of this, the presidencies, the midterms that we've gone through, I know in my lifetime, no one has truly spoken or really done any good towards the Black community. And yet they want us to give them our vote for nothing. If I give you something, I should get something in return. I don't think my vote should be free. And I don't think talk is cheap either. So just because you think you know what I need, you know, and you get up there and make promises, but you have no clue what's going on in the Black community at all. And you're not trying to solve the real deep issues in these communities.
Right. I mean, I think me and Maya talked about it a couple of weeks ago as it pertained to Black community, getting ready for work one morning. And it was just a topic of what are 3 things that would be important in the Black community. And the 3 things that I listed, and I think we ended up putting it on our Instagram page. First and foremost for me, one, it was financial literacy.
Yes.
Right off the bat.
Yes, we need that. We can't even get in the game until we understand that.
It's insulting.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, because
that's the first rule of the game.
Every culture has a stake, and they put their money where their mouth is.
Yes, they do.
You know, you might call it lobbyists or various other different things, but sometimes you have to pay the cost to be the boss.
And we got to be willing to do that.
And we have to be willing to do it at the local, the state, and the federal levels. We got to get in the game. We got to participate. Sometimes that calls for us spending
a little money, sacrificing,
and doing what's right. It may not be for our generation. It may be for that next generation. But if they see us doing it, then they're going to understand the importance of it.
Right.
Number 2 is actually education.
Yes.
Education is, pivotal to making any changes. I think we were at church today and there was a brother, he's a delegate, but as he felt it, he felt that they had him come up because he had won. Right. And he was looking at it. He lost by 1 vote for the women, but he got all the men's votes. And he's a delegate for Oceanside, California.
Yes.
And it was really cool speaking with him after the service and just talking about sharing some ideas. But the aspect of education is really important, I think, because when me and Maya was talking to him, we shared those thoughts and he said, hey, we really need to get together and talk about some things.
We found a like-minded person that believed in the things that we believed in when it comes to our community.
With our community. And then I think that third and final thing, because although you may not think about it, a lot of us are living longer, is our health care.
Yes, that is a big issue.
In the Black community.
Yes, it is.
From the youngest to the oldest. Our elders, all the way down to our babies. It's so much to unpack in all 3 of those.
Oh, yeah.
That that could be just a whole topic in and of
itself. And it will be. That will be a topic coming up.
We have on our previous YouTube videos, we talked about them each individually, but I think surrounding politics, because what'll happen is that if you do have an opportunity to speak to one of these politicians and you get up and you have the opportunity to give a question, whether it's on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, or whatever, however you in person, you want to be ready to ask them a question.
That's right.
And I also say a question of substance.
Yes.
Because it's
not one you can skirt around, but we need to demand real answers, not, well, I feel you. I was when I was 8 or when my mama was what? No, I don't care about all that. What I care about is right now. I care about what I'm going through. My sister is going through. I care about what my children are going through and what their children will go through. So I don't care about your stories of the past. We need to talk about right now what's going on and what you plan on doing about these things.
Oh, yeah. Because, our voice, even sometimes people don't think about it, in the Black community, in the area of politics, really does. It's large. It's like speaking in the bullhorn. And you saw that last year. I think they oftentimes speak about the Black woman and their vote and how important it is, more so than they do say the Black man, because they stereotype us. They say that we're incarcerated, this, that, and the other.
Yes.
But the Black woman's vote was tremendous.
Right.
It was huge.
Yeah.
And overall, men and women in the Black community just through the roof. Getting out to vote, waiting in the long lines.
Right.
You saw it day in and day out. Every time you turn around. I don't know why it is in the white community, Jewish community, that they can have the machines lined up from one end of the wall to the other. Go
no
in and
issues.
vote,
Yeah.
no problem. But in our communities, you don't have extension cords.
Right.
They're not working.
Right.
They haven't been tested. It's just insane.
We know the games they play. I mean, it doesn't even matter what media says. We understand what goes on in our communities. And we do see that on the media, we are underrepresented in the truth. We are as a people, we are underrepresented in the truth. When they speak about all issues, they'll even bring up issues that we've been dealing with forever since we've been here, but won't mention us at all.
No.
We're not even part of the conversation, y'all, until it's time to give that vote. Other than that, they're not thinking about us. We are invisible in this country.
Oh yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I say even at the local level, that's where it starts at first.
Yeah, at the local
level is your household.
Yes.
Where they're taxing you, they're taxing for the school, where your kids go to school.
Your property tax, your sales tax,
everything that you do.
What's moving next door to you, if they're cutting your transit off and you can't take the bus to work and you don't have a car. Important. You know, those things are very important because they deal with you directly, daily
issues that we need to know. The people that are running for these offices, what they plan on do, Republican, Democrat, Independent, I don't care who it is, Green Party. Yeah. All these people have agendas.
They do.
Their agendas are spelled out. And sometimes we won't look at it until we get a pamphlet and it's the last day to vote. You may have 30 days, but you wait till the last day to vote. Then you scrambling. And then like they did, I think, down in Georgia, you know it's against the law to come take someone else's pamphlets to the voting booth. But people in the Black community are giving it over.
How come we're not educated in that? Why do you not know the laws in voting? Why do you trust them so much that they came because someone in white skin came to your door, knocked on it and said, yeah, I need to take your pamphlet? That doesn't make any sense. We should know the rules by now, as much as we dealt with this issue. To do, I mean, the instructions are clearly written on the pamphlet.
It is.
I really don't understand what's going on when it comes to that. But that's that education part.
Truly.
We won't research.
You see it every year. Someone has, as Infudishi said, we have been bamboozled.
Yes.
Once again.
In
this area. In politics. So real quick, I'm going to, like I say again, really want to talk about this. Politics is the way that people living in groups make decisions. In everyday life, the term politics refer to the way that countries are governed and the ways that government make rules and laws. Politics can also be seen in other groups, such as in companies, clubs, schools, and churches.
Yes.
That's the definition of politics. So no matter how you say, if you don't want to play the game, I don't have time for it, it's in every damn thing that
you're
do.
In the game, whether you wanted to be or not. They don't put you in there without your consent.
Truly is. I mean, whether you in a heavy populated Black community, if you in a mixed, diverse populated community of people, it is important that you see and understand what this game is really all about.
That's right.
Because a lot of people have stakes in it, especially for our community, our culture, is to keep our culture down. Every time we try to elevate something up, they try to find ways to continue to push the Black community back down. That's right. We get enough of the light, push us back down. This is what Professor Small says, and he's really, really, if you haven't seen him on YouTube,
check him out on YouTube. Yes, you got to hear what this brother has to say.
So profound that I had to rewrite it so that I could get it in. He says, in the African American community, the African Americans, we are individuals, but when we come together, we make the African American family.
That's right.
He says the African American family, when they come together, they make African American neighborhoods. He said, as the African American neighborhoods come together, they make the African American community. And he says, as the African American community comes together, it becomes, and I put this in there, a powerful Black nation within a nation.
Because we are a nation within a
We
nation.
can do so many things, and I used to see it as a child. My grandparents had businesses. You know, we often talk about the Black Wall Street, but I remember as a child seeing those grocery stores open, and it was no pun intended, there were Black faces that were behind
the counters. Yes,
men and women that owned those
that
stores.
Worked. Yes,
you know, that cut the hair.
They understood the community. They understood what you were going through. Yes,
where the grocers had their own produce.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you know,
integration came,
and
what we were doing wasn't good enough for us.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, had your own gas station, you know, your own cab company.
We put ourselves out of business.
Literally. We took our Black dollars that we earned
and stopped supporting our businesses, and we went to the white neighborhoods thinking they had something better than what we had. The stuff that has fed us, got us to work, those who gave us credit when we didn't have money, those that fed your kids and let them stay in their shops and watch them when you couldn't because you were at work and you needed a babysitter. All of those people that ran those businesses, our own put them out because we thought they had something better than what we had at home. And
truth be told, you go there and it wasn't really all that.
No, and it's still not.
Was no better, no greater. And then all of a sudden, years go by. Again, I remember at 10, 12 years of age, working in a Black-owned shoe shine store. You know, this man, James, in the shoe shine parlor, he brought these young men in and he taught them the aspect of business, how to handle your money, how to count your money, everything that we did. You know, he helped you understood that how was it? It was like 30, no, he gave us 70%, he kept 30% of from shining of shoes. And back then it was, you may say it's small, but to get 10, 15, 20 some dollars.
That's big money back then for a child, huh?
Kid, you were
you
like
doing some stuff.
You was looking forward to looking at shining shoes.
Right.
You know, and that taught you to want to go out and find another job. You know, summer youth job.
Right.
Or during the snow season, shoveling snow. You'd end up saying, this is my block.
Yeah, right.
So others couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it,
You could get cocoa, you could get some soup, plus you get a tip. For shoveling
the snow.
But
that's right.
That's almost like that was our rites of passage as a young man growing up, and we knew the importance of contributing. You know,
it gave you character, responsibility, and character. Yeah.
And then the politics game is very much the same. Here's the funniest thing: when we think about politics, some people, you'll ask them, "What are the three branches of the government?" And most people just stay stuck on, they be like, what? You know, I mean, literally, I often like watching Jimmy Kimmel because when he do this on the streets, some people are lost as all get out. But I ain't trying to give you no test. I'm going to go ahead and tell you because it's really important. The three branches of government here in the United States of America, the first one is, they call it the executive branch. It is both the president and about 5 million workers. And then it's the legislative branch, which is Congress. And in Congress, there are two, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate. And then third is the judicial branch. And that is both the Supreme Court and the lower
courts they talk about.
Yes. And I mean, it's definitions in here. I can read each and every one of these, but I'm going to just give you those three.
And we want you to do your research. Go read.
Because that's what the tea is all about.
That's
bringing it to you.
So that you can go check it out for yourself and read it for yourself to understand. Because
you gotta get it.
What does God say? His people die for lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, we want people to tell us stuff and do stuff for us. But heaven forbid if we got to go crack open a book and go research something to find out what's really going on. We just don't want to do it.
And it's the greatest importance of what Maya just said is that it's sad nowadays that we can spend many hours in front of our television watching reality shows or kicking off at the club or, you know, doing those things. I mean, if it's important to you, it's important to you. But when it comes to it, and I start hearing men and women talk about, we know what we got for a president this year. These past 2 years, if you ain't been affected,
I don't know what you're doing or where you at or where you live.
You might be on Mars.
I know.
But,
I don't know how you're not affected. One way or another.
Both that executive branch and a part of Congress.
Yes.
The House representatives that are Republicans.
Right.
As well as in the Senate, those that are Republicans. Hell, we even saw the judicial branch have some knockdown, drag out fights with the new Supreme Court person, Kavanaugh. I mean, I ain't never seen that type of, just the landscape. I mean, every day in the newspaper, and men and women were not. You cannot say that you're not going to be bothered with it because it's in your everyday.
It is in
your household.
Yes.
At the local level, affects your children. If you have young children going to school, it affects you in your professional work, whether you're in the private or public sector, because you have companies that are in the private sector that land people off just as much as people that are in public trust.
Yes, that's right.
That are, we call it right sizing. That's another way of saying laying off. But that's what's going on.
And in the judicial system, as far as Black people should be very concerned with the laws that are being made, as we see that our Black men and women are killed and shot down or whatever else every day, the lynchings and the blackface and all of that. The judicial system is something we definitely need to be aware of, what they're passing, why they're passing it, and how we're going to fight it, because everything they do affects us. They put laws in place that will affect us 10 and 15 years from now that we don't see. And that's why they play this game. So we need to think, if they're doing 5, 10, 15 years, then we need to think 15, 20, 30 years when we see that law and say, where are they going? And where will this take us if they do this? And that's when we need to start voicing our opinion and holding these politicians accountable. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, because, them stating that they are Black and they're proud to be Black, but neither one of them are speaking on a Black agenda, what they're going to do or what we're going through. I don't care about your mama and your daddy. I don't care about what you did in college. I don't care about smoking weed, because smoking weed ain't a Black thing.
No, it's not.
It's not.
You sure as hell ain't benefiting from it.
Yes. And rap is not a Black thing. We are not all in the same. We don't share the same thing. We are all individuals. Collectively, we are Black. But to put that out there and act like, now, that's why I'm one of you. No, I want to know what you're going to do for us. I need some tangible stuff. And I've not heard none of them speak on neither those two or anyone else. Anyone else. I mean, the one lady was talking about reparations and she want to rob us.
Because when you break it down,
they owe us way more than what was that she wanted to give? Million, something like that. Chick, get out of here.
That's like one state. That's
like a penny in the bucket.
Literally. And if, like I say again, so that's, to me, that's the very most important thing, because it does show on a larger scale. In 2004, it showed that about 38% of the Black Party affiliation for the African American community were Democrat. In 2016, it went from that 38% to now 48%. But what it is that we're trying to express all the way down to the point that we're communicating this to our youth who are of age, that are able to vote at 18, that they should be getting registered.
Yes.
I don't know about how some states are, but it seems like down in the deep South, if your address on your driver's license don't match your, where you live at, you can't vote. Yes. So you need to be checking that out.
Yes. You need to find out what are the rules in your area and then start to correct it. If you ain't got a car, you call, somebody with a car and tell them, I need to go get these things done. I need an ID.
Yep.
I need my address to match.
Like Maya said, they planning it right now.
Oh yeah, right now. They're trying to all the demise.
They getting it in.
Soon everybody gonna need a passport to vote. And they know a lot of y'all cannot afford a passport. But that's when we need to come together. That's when family and friends need to come together and figure out how we're gonna get all of y'all, a passport, because they're just not gonna do us any kind of way.
They're not gonna make it easy.
No. So we got to do what we got. I mean, if back then they could walk miles and miles to go to work or do whatever they had to do, doggone it, get out and do your due diligence.
That's our civic responsibility, as a people. It's time for us to stop making excuses, stop saying, oh, the system is rigged. It's gonna be done. You have an opportunity to make it not be rigged. I don't have, it's not like a screaming match that we're trying to have going on here. Our affiliation, whether it's been Republican, Democrat, or independent, in the game, we have participated.
Right.
Our ancestors that came before us, they participated.
Right.
They knew the importance of it at the local level. They knew what it would do to us.
Right.
But, from the 60s and 70s or even further back, that's why Dr. King and them marched, that equality and the rhyme or reason for us. Right. Malcolm X, these men put their lives on the line because they knew. Rosa Parks taking that seat. That's when they said enough's enough. Right. When are we gonna say it's enough's enough?
Right. If I got to go out, I'm going to go out for my people.
And we challenged those political leaders, even the Black Caucus. I even often ask and look to try to find out what their agendas
They are just as silent. Reverend Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, the Black Caucus. I'll go down the line. They are good for nothing unless you are paying them to voice your situation or whatever it is, because they are deep in this politic game and they forgot about who they are and they have forgotten about us.
Who they are fighting for. And that's why we have to make it ourselves. You have to make it personal for yourself.
You do.
So you take ownership of what you're doing and within the scope of your community. Right. And that dialogue that you begin to have, you go out and find it. Like me and mine say, we live in Oceanside, California, and it's about, a spit of us, 1,400 of us. And unless you're going into a church to find your brothers and sisters, you ain't oftentimes
I don't know where they are. I don't know.
It's sad. So, I mean, we're trying to find, think of ways of what we want to do. And we starting it in our house. Right. This is our political arena to open up an African-American cultural and event center. But you got to start getting out. We went and looked at a building yesterday. Yeah. We got to claim it.
We have no idea, but we want it.
We have a desire.
We're trying to figure out how we can do this for our people, where we have something we own and our people can come. And you ain't got to beg us to throw an event. I ain't got to, I ain't got to say, well, I'm going to take most of your money or whatever.
That's not what
if we own it, we can help other Blacks put on events. Do things for the community, have a center where we are now exchanging Black dollars.
Right.
And we are exchanging Black dollars.
Doing those things to help the community, as well as being able to help, whether single moms, single dads who may have things, may it be some elderly people that may have some things that they need to have a place to go to talk. Right. That just doesn't happen. I mean, churches, almost every time they open, they want something.
But they're not giving
when
nothing.
You're doing something. And it's just going like, one, it should be for the club, but like it's nonprofit. Yeah. As long as you clean it up, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But I'm seeing that everywhere. It's not just here, but I just think that we need to challenge ourselves to better and higher. Baby, is there anything else I know you want to say?
I just want to say, so I want you guys to really research Camilla Harris, number one. I want you to understand that she sold out when it came to the banks. She sold out to one West Bank where Steve Mnuchin owed, and they had evidence of misconduct of money. He should have went to jail. He should have, but she backed him. Not only did she back him, he gave money to her campaign.
Tell him who Steve Mnuchin is now. He's the Treasury
Secretary. Oh, that's right, the Treasury Secretary.
President Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so
the
I
dude
want
that
you to
handling your
know
dollars.
that, yes. And I want you to know he was stealing from the American people. And Kamala Harris looked the other way and accepted a campaign fund from him. Now. I want you to understand that Kamala Harris has put innocent people in jail.
Oh, yeah.
They have she has agreed to with evidence of false confessions, false evidence, withholding transcripts, and she has put innocent people, or not even given them a fair trial, in jail. And she states that she's a voice for the voiceless. That is so wrong. Let's see. Let's see. Concealed evidence, all of that. Another thing is that there was a story about I'm sorry if I pronounced the young lady's name wrong, Matree Richardson, who ended up dying from negligence, a black female, of negligence of the sheriff's department. When Camilla's was over that part of the sheriff's department as a prosecutor.
But never did anything.
Never did anything, and tried to shut the investigation down.
Come on now.
They finally were forced. They have 500 pages of evidence. They were finally forced to reopen it, just I guess, to look good, and then just denied it. Now her parents did win a civil suit against them for what happened to Matree Richardson, who did die because she had some mental illness issues. And the sheriff's department, instead of contacting the parents, let this young lady leave on her own. And she was found dead 11 months later. Wow. Kamala Harris also backs Planned Parenthood.
Now you already know. Planned
Parenthood has killed more black babies than anyone on this earth. She backs them. And right there,
that's what we're saying. And I mean, I know we're just going over.
And
but
I know.
What I want to say is, as Maya's saying, this is the research that we all need to be doing.
You need to do that. Just because she's black does not mean that she's for us. Habitual chronic truancy. She backs that parents go to jail if your child does not attend school. Right. Now, you know, in the black community, we're working 2 and 3 jobs. For us to be criminally penalized if our children do not stay in school is ridiculous. Yes. We're already fighting poverty. It's not going to help. You know, we need more laws or more programs to help those working parents that can then help the children, because there's no YMCAs in those communities. There's no Boys and Girls Club in our communities. We can't drop our kids off and make sure they get to school. Right. But this is what she's doing. Neither Kamala Harris or Cory Booker has talked about reversing Dred Scott. And if you don't know the Dred Scott case, you need to go back and look at that. No one in history has talked about it anymore since it's been, the verdict has been set. Yep. We as blacks, I don't care what the 13th, 14th, 15th, I don't care, 100th Amendment says, we are not citizens of this United States. Right. That is why they are allowed to kill us the way they are. That is why they are allowed to ignore what we have and what we do. We are not a people to them, and it says so in their law. So I'm sorry I had to get on the soapbox, but I'm just really upset.
She ain't upset
about this. Kamala Harris and Cory Booker both on the Breakfast Club, and neither one of them had a black agenda in mind for us. We cannot just willfully give our vote over to people who do not care about what's going on in our community.
You see why we had to talk about politics? Because if you are not in the know, this is what will happen to you. We owe it not only to ourselves, we owe it to our ancestors, and we also owe it to that next generation and the generation after that.
That's right.
It is so important that you are aware of what is going on politically in your arena. And if you have the opportunity, most of us don't, but if you have an opportunity to sit in or go to some of these things and speak and ask questions, bring what's on your heart. I know my wife's heart, and she can get passionate as all get out, but I could feel her energy. And I just know that is a very, very important thing. It's sad that you see these people who really don't have our best interests. And it's only because we don't make them have our best
That's
interests.
Right.
So again, thank you guys.
Yes. Thank
your
you,
man
for
Chauncey.
This is Mayaka Anderson.
From the bottom of my
From
heart.
the bottom of our heart, we love you all, fam. We gotta go over to Facebook. They're waiting on us.
We love you.
Love you.
Mike gonna get 10 minutes.